Over the years, Richard and I have been astounded at the amount of ignorance nonprofit leaders and managers have about major gifts. This ignorance of how major gift works is impeding a nonprofit's ability to grow. On today's podcast, Richard and I discuss what the main misconceptions leaders have about major gifts, what they need to be doing instead, and how you as a major gift officer can help enlighten your leader so ultimately you and your nonprofit can grow. Join us today for a lively discussion on how to stamp out ignorance in major gifts.
Welcome to the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group, featuring Richard Perry and Jeff Schreifels. Twice a month, we bring you the latest and best thinking about major gift fundraising, so you can develop authentic relationships with your major donors. Here are your hosts, Richard and Jeff.
Hey, thanks for joining us on our podcast today. Richard, I'm going to get right into it because you've got a lot of energy on this subject today. It's all around the subject on why many nonprofit leaders and managers are just plain ignorant when it comes to major gifts.
Well, that's true. I mean, and ignorant is a very strong word,
Yeah.
but I think the reason we use that word, Jeff, is because it's so frustrating, this lack of knowledge about major gifts. And we come face to face with it almost every day.
Yeah.
So I actually thought, you know what, it'd be really good to discuss why there's so much of this ignorance in major gifts and then what folks can do about it.
Okay, so let's start out. What do you actually mean by ignorance in the first place? What do you hear?
Well, it's some of the positions people take on things. Like, for instance, we're trying to build a caseload. Well,
Right.
Where are we going to get the donors? And so, of course, we're going to take those donors from direct mail or the direct marketing or the pipeline and put those on a caseload. And someone says, well, why are you taking all of those good direct mail donors and putting them on a caseload? and I'm thinking, like, what do you want me to do? Go out and forage for them out in the forest next to the mushrooms or what? Right. I mean, the whole pipeline. Donor acquisition, the direct marketing program, the mid-level program is all a pipeline.
Yeah.
To create a caseload.
This is why you're doing it in the first place.
I know.
I mean, you're losing money in acquisition because eventually the hope is that they'll move some of them up into major gifts.
Exactly, and into capital gifts and planned gifts and so on. So that's one area. Another thing is like, and we hear this all the time, and you've heard it, Jeff, is, well, we need some big gifts today.
Right.
And if those MGOs don't start delivering them right now, we're just going to have to close the program down. I mean, I've heard managers and executives say, we need the money,
right?
And so so that's why we're going to start a major gift program. So when do you need the money? Well, we need it in the next few months. And it's like, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so a lot of leaders are just, when they hear the word major gift, they think, oh, well, you just ask someone right away and they're just going to give it to you.
And so you have these major gift officers who are just suffering under this kind of abuse, really, where you're managing the relationship and now you're supposed to deliver these big gifts like by Thursday.
Yeah.
That's another one that's just like another one that is like, well, why does it, Richard, Jeff, why does it take so much time to start a major gift program and to get it going? I mean, these donors, they just love us. So it's like getting the money should just be like falling off a log. I mean, what's the problem? So I always say, like, okay, George or Ann or whatever the person's name is, I say, look, do you understand about relationships, don't you? Yeah. Well, they take time. Now, it's really interesting, and this is maybe a judgment, and maybe it's a little bit negative, but it's like the people that don't understand that relationships take time and that there's some bumps in them and there's up and downs and it's a growing process over time are the ones that themselves have relational problems with their spouse, their partner, or their business partner or whoever.
It's pretty judgmental.
It is.
But yeah, I think I know what you're saying. It's like, if you don't get the idea that this is a process, that it's like dating, it's like you just don't go on a date and the next day, let's get married.
I know.
I mean,
some people do.
That doesn't work out so well.
No, it doesn't. So that's an interesting one. Now, here's one that just kind of blew me away, and I've heard it several times now, is where a CEO, and you know how we do these caseload planning and MGO planning. I mean, we have this whole system where you look at, like, let's say you have a national organization and they have all these donors, and someone says, well, where are we going to hire and place major gift officers? And so what we do is we go to the data, because that's who we are. Right. We're data driven.
Right.
And we say, well, where are those donors clustered? And then we decide geographies. Well, there's here around the Chicago area and here around Phoenix and so on.
Right.
So this, if I mention the organization, everyone listening would know exactly who they are. Mm-hmm. But the CEO of that organization, we had said basically, look, here's where you need to put these 18 major gift officers. And he said, well, we need one in New York City.
Yeah.
Well, I said, they're really not a critical mass of donors. I mean, it seems like there should be, because there's so many people living there in that metro area. But for your organization, they're in these areas.
Right.
And, we need to be represented there. And that's why we need to put a major. I said, okay, well, then hire a public relations person so that's another area where there's a lack of understanding of the fact that the major gift officer is managing actual donors in certain areas.
You're not planting someone and the donors are going to come to this person.
Well, that's what you're saying. Or minding the brand in a metro area or something like that. So that's another one. Another area where that is about ignorance is like, look, these major gift officers are basically saying to me, I don't have anything to present to donors. Mm. And it just gets me really frustrated, Richard, because, this major gift officer knows our program and they know what we do. They know the mission. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
That one is so interesting to me too. I mean, we've talked about this on other podcasts and in our writings. It's like these major gift officers need to have product.
Yeah.
They need to have something to go present. So that's another area of ignorance. And then I think the last one that you and I have struggled a lot with authority figures is this whole management of major gift officers. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the services that we provide as Veritas. We manage or co-manage major gift officers on behalf of the organization. Yeah. And we're doing that with hundreds and hundreds of them around the country. But you'll get this authority figure that'll say, you know what? We don't need to manage them.
Right.
Now, what's that about? Of course you need to manage them. It's like hiring a bunch of salespeople in a commercial venture and say, well, we don't need a sales manager.
Exactly. We hear this all the time from managers. Oh, I don't really need to spend much time with them. They're on their own. They get out there. I don't have to worry about them.
They know what to do. And so we say, no, you need a manager. Now, if you don't want us to help you do this management thing, which we do really well, then why don't you hire somebody? Wow, we don't have the budget for that. And actually, if we did, it's really not worth it because we don't need to do it.
Yeah.
So
then they look at their attrition rates, value attrition, donor attrition, losing hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars.
Well, and
they don't need any help.
Yeah, and then the lack of productivity on the part of the major gift officer. So, I mean, it's those are the big areas that I find.
Okay, so that's what you're hearing.
Yeah.
So, why is this happening in our industry? What's happening?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things, Jeff, is that there's a lack of understanding of how major gifts fits into the overall fundraising strategy of the organization.
Yes,
I mean,
we know that for sure.
So we talked about that earlier in this podcast. It's like major gifts is sort of like, not sort of, it's the end of the pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, planned giving.
And planned giving.
Yeah.
The whole point of acquiring donors and spending money to acquire donors, usually at a loss, is to put donors into the pipeline so that they grow into the mid-level and major. So, I mean, like we have this little chart, Jeff, that we hand out that basically says, okay, this is how it works. You acquire them here and then they move along.
Mm-hmm.
And do you understand that? And then they don't. So
I know. And you know what? People are like, oh, come on, that can't be true. But you and I know some of major charities in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
who have essentially grown up in direct response marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have hundreds of thousands, maybe 1 million donors
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they've got that $10 gift and now they're cultivating them. And they have no or little of a major gift program. Why? Because they've just been relying on this big bucket of money that seems to be coming in. And now they're realizing, you know what, that's not working anymore.
Well, you're not getting the net revenue that you need.
Gosh, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And they never thought about, wow, we need to move these donors up. There's no place for them to go.
Exactly.
They've just been giving them direct mail the whole time.
Yep.
And they're getting checks for $5,000 from direct mail or $10,000, sometimes even more. So they're thinking, oh, we don't need to do anything else. And they have no program for them to move up.
And we've seen a lot of files like that. I mean, where there's, yeah. So, so not understanding how major gift works. I think the other thing is not understanding that major gifts takes time. And we said that earlier in this podcast. Right. Relationships take time.
Yes.
And it's just not going to happen if you don't spend the time to do it. And so we're out there trying to evangelize the leaders and managers of nonprofits across the country to give space and time. And so if you're an MGO listening to this podcast and you're in that kind of situation, one thing you can do is explain that to your manager about relationships. And use that same thing that we talked about earlier, like relationships take time.
You know, I wonder if some managers and executives, they'll read like the Chronicle of Philanthropy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read that on an ongoing basis, they have this whole section of gifts that came in. And you see these $20 million gifts, $5 million, $10 million gifts. And then the manager's saying, well, why aren't we getting this?
Exactly.
No one understands that it took years of relationship building to get that $20 million gift or $5 million, whatever it is.
Right.
All they see is the headlines and they're like, well, we should be able to get those things and we should be able to get it like tomorrow. And so they just have this idea that it can just come in now.
Yeah. So this is a huge area. So we've got to educate people more and more about the fact that the pipeline of fundraising is a very dynamic thing that takes time. It takes years to kind of make that whole thing happen and build confidence and so on. I think the third area, Jeff, is mistaking MGOs for public relations reps or brand managers.
Yeah,
and it's that
you're
whole
talking about New York.
Yeah, it's like no, that's not their job. Well, this person's really good at like news kind of stuff or talking to people about what we're doing and educating them to, and so what does that have to do with the caseload? It doesn't.
It doesn't. And it shows a total lack of understanding around data, because you and I know that we can tell very quickly once we do an analysis of the data, how many major gift officers an organization can actually have.
Well, like just last week, we said to one, like, you need 13.
Yeah.
What?
They had 2 with 6,000 donors.
Right. And we said, you need 13. And we know from experience that you just add those 13 and within a year or two, it's just going to be like an amazing journey. But no.
They're not looking at it that way.
They're not looking at it that way. I think the other area is believing that the MGO general knowledge is all they need to present to donors, which is that whole thing about donor offers. And we've talked a lot about that. The thing that you can do if you're in that situation is explain to a manager or authority figure the whole analogy that we use in terms of looking at the commercial world and a retail store.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go into a retail store and have it empty and then think that retail store is actually a going concern because there's product in there.
Right.
And when you analyze a nonprofit, they have a ton of product. I mean, it's not only all the areas that they work in, the bigger categories, but there's all the subcategories.
Right.
I mean, you know, the one organization in Philadelphia that we're working with, it's about a $40 million organization, and the chief development officer there has produced a whole list of products. And I think it totals something like 183 or 210 or something like that. Different products.
Yeah.
Or offers.
Right.
Well, that's what people need to do. You need to take your budget, reframe it into major categories and subcategories and put prices on them. And then you have all these products, in quote, to present. So listen, folks, the general knowledge thing is not going to work in major gifts. We've got to get that through our heads, and it's just not going to work. You need to have the product inventory.
Yep.
I think the last thing is this whole management piece. We need to get management happening in major gifts, and we've talked a lot about that. I don't think there's anything more to add to that, unless you have something, Jeff.
Well, just that almost every organization does not do this. I mean, every organization we've worked with, of course, has not had that in place. Now, fortunately, they recognized, hey, you're right. We do need management here.
Well, you remember the one organization that had, a major gift program that had been going for 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years. They had 35 major gift officers. The average caseload value of each of those major gift officers was $600,000.
Yeah.
We came in there and in 2 years raised the average caseload value to $900,000, and in 3 raised it to 1.2 million.
Yeah.
Now, what was that? That was management inputs,
right,
and some strategy inputs,
keeping those MGOs focused.
Exactly.
It's amazing how it works.
Well, I mean, when you do the math, see, what's the difference, Jeff? You've got so you got 600,000 times 30 MGOs. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, and that's how the thing moved in that way. And it was worth every piece of management. So, the
ROI on this was just amazing.
So we experienced that over and over and over again. When you add the management element, it actually bumps up the numbers. So,
okay. So if you're a major gift officer sitting here listening to this, okay, well, what can I do? Well, how do we change this?
Well, I mean, you get yourself educated on it. I mean, we have a course that is for managers.
That's right.
And executives that explains. Yeah. So, I mean, and there's another course that we offer in terms of how to do major gifts right. So education is a big point.
Education, seminars, webinars, books. It's like, if people demand it, it will happen.
Yeah.
And, there's like this crisis of management in nonprofit.
And in the major gift field.
And in the major gift side. So if you're listening to this, you're one of the enlightened ones. Mm-hmm. Go out and demand that your leaders, your managers, you yourself get educated on this work.
And stamp out ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the solution.
Well, we have a resource. Actually, we're going to tell you about a course coming up. Starting on October 7th, we have a certification course for managers and executives. This is exactly what we've been talking about. This course.
And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast past that date, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's ongoing. But this next one coming up is on October 7th. But this course is designed for leaders and managers to understand how does major gifts work and how you can support the major gift team.
And the economics of it and everything. I mean, everything we've been talking about here.
It helps enlighten all these managers and executives that we're trying to change. So
where can folks go to find out about that?
They can go to majorgiftacademy.com, majorgiftacademy.com. and you'll see it right on the front page, all the latest courses, and this one will jump right up. So click on it, check it out, and we hope to see you in the course.
I know, that'll be fun.
So thank you for joining us on this podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group. Richard and Jeff also write an ongoing blog that you can subscribe to for free at veritasgroup.com. Please join us again next time.